glad that I'm in this nice cozy room. I mean, just look at the weather outside. It's bloody freezing. Listen, I have a little bit of stuff to talk to you about, and I hate to be a purveyor of bad news, and I need to make a warning right now that if there are any young ears nearby, maybe it's best to send the children to bed now, or maybe wait to view this until later. The purpose of my talk for this Christmas is the brutal truth about Santa Claus. It's distressing. I found out about this when I was much younger. I think the year was 1990. A friend of mine that I was working with who gave me all these facts. And his name, many of you that are watching now are guys that I worked with over the years since 1980. And the person who told me these facts in 1990 was a guy named Mark Peach. I was working with him in Oman. I was absolutely shocked when I found out what he had to tell me. So, anyway, here we go. You know, with Santa Claus coming on New Year's Eve, you need to be aware of a few facts. First of all, do you know of any reindeers that can fly? I certainly don't know of any species of reindeer that can fly. Also, now bear in mind that these figures that I'm giving you are from 1990, so you can multiply, probably double these figures or even triple in some cases when it comes to referring to population and numbers of households and all of that. But I'll just refer to the statistics that I was told in 1990. At that time, there were approximately 2 billion children in the world. About 25% of those 2 billion children actually celebrate Christmas. You know, because some are of different religions and different traditions, so they don't necessarily celebrate Christmas. But if you translate that into numbers of households, that means there's roughly 91.8 million homes that Santa has to visit on Christmas Eve. And you must remember that means not only does he have to visit them, but he's got to go down the chimneys and come back up again and move on to the next house. And this is all going to be done in one night. Now, remember, the rotation of the earth goes from west to east. That means east gets Christmas first, okay? So Santa has to start his journey in the east. Now, he has, based on the rotation of the earth and the time zones, he only has 11 hours, actually 11 hours of Christmas to complete all his tasks. That works out that if he has to do all that in 11 hours, it works out at 822.6 house visits per second. That is to say, for every good household with good children, Santa has 1,000 of a second to park his sleigh, hop out of the sleigh, jump down the chimney, fill the stockings, distribute the presents under the tree and elsewhere. Then he's got to eat whatever snack has been left for him, get back up the chimney, get back into his sleigh, and move on to the next house. 1,000 of a second. Now, assuming that each of these 91.8 billion homes are evenly spaced apart. Now, in practice, of course, some will be very close and some will be very far apart. But if we average it out, it works out that they're about 0.78 miles apart, just under a mile, say a kilometre apart per household. Now, he's got a total trip of 75.5 million miles to cover in that 11 hours. Now, that doesn't count stops for Santa Claus to have a pee or have a tea break, you know, give the Rudolph and the reindeers a rest. That means if he's got to do that, his sledge, or sleigh as some people call it, has to be moving at least at about 650 miles per second, or in kilometres, maybe 1,000 kilometres per second. That's 3,000 times faster than the speed of sound. Oh my God, if you compare that with rockets that have been sent into space, in 1990, for instance, the Ulysses space probe that went into space we thought it was moving very fast, but that was only moving at like 27.4 miles per second. So that's a lot slower than Santa's sleigh. Now, not only that, you have to consider the weight of the sleigh, all the presents and everything, and Santa himself. You know, if you assume, for instance, that each child just gets one small toy, weighing, say, 2 pounds, that means the sleigh has to carry 321,300 tons of presents. And that weight doesn't count Santa himself. Now, if flying reindeer can pull 10 times their own weight, that's the weight of a conventional reindeer, therefore Santa has to have, in order to pull all the weight, he needs 14,200 reindeers in front of the sleigh. Now, 353,000 tons travelling at 650 miles per second, it creates a lot of resistance, and this heats up the reindeers up in the front in the same way like as a spacecraft gets heated up when it's coming back into the atmosphere. That's why spacecraft have to have heat shields in front of them to protect the astronauts inside. But if you think about Rudolph and the other reindeer, the two lead reindeers at the front of the sleigh, that means they will absorb 14.3 quintillion joules of energy per second. Each, in short, they'll burst into flames almost instantaneously, and that will expose the reindeers behind them and creating a deafening sonic boom in their wake. That means the entire reindeer team will be vaporized within 4.26 thousandths of 1 second. Santa, meanwhile, himself, he will be subject to centrifugal forces of 17,500.06 times greater than gravity. A 250-pound Santa, which of course is very slim for a Santa, he would be pinned to the back of the sleigh by a 4,315,000 pound force. My God. Now if you think about all that and then consider this fact, that if he has to visit 98.1 million homes, and he has to drink 1 glass of sherry and 1 mince pie at each home. Now, if a mince pie weighs 15 grams and there are 20 glasses of sherry contained in 1 bottle, that's unless you're Irish or Scottish, of course, the net result is that Santa will have eaten 1,471,500 kilos of mince pies and drunk around 4,905,000 bottles of sherry. Are you surprised that Santa only comes once per year?
Whoa! Ho, ho, ho! Well, hello, Marco. This is Santa Claus. People always want to know, Santa Claus, how do you know if we being naughty or nice? I have to do all the reconnaissance myself. All right, up next on the naughty or nice list is Little Johnny. Let's go see if Little Johnny's being